Dear people of God at Trinity Church and beloved friends beyond, thank you for joining me for this week's Reflections from the Other Side. Sometimes my husband Michael sends me articles he thinks I will enjoy, and I love it when he does. They often inspire a reflection, as they have today. An eye-catching and thought-provoking one he recently sent was titled, "No, I Don't Want to Go for a Walk with You." But it got me thinking about walking. Before the pandemic, walking the dish was my favorite form of exercise, my most effective way to conduct a meeting, and my major way of seeing friends. When I would spend time with my dear friend Becca Stevens, we would always escape from the busy events of the day, to walk and talk and listen around Radnor Lake in Nashville, or even on mountain trails in the remote hills of Ecuador. But all that walking stopped with the shutdown. Remember when the dish opened again after the early panic of the pandemic, when it was a two-way street with masked walkers stretched 6 feet apart, keeping pace with one another to keep space between one another? We were all so desperate to get outside and to see one another and to breathe deeply. But then again, we couldn't help worrying about breathing deeply as a risky way of breathing in infected air. There was a strange bond we felt as we walked, but we were also like balls in a pinball machine, bouncing off each other, avoiding each other, speeding up to get around each other. And walking lost its appeal. Did you too lose the will to walk in those days? Then, of course, I was diagnosed with gastroesophageal cancer, and the chemo and radiation treatments came and went, followed by the surgery. The first time I walked again was when I walked slowly and painfully around the ward post-surgery, around and around and around, every step and effort, acutely aware as I was of living with a completely foreign digestive system. As many of you know, my recovery has not been easy. Even walking has been a struggle with dizziness and breathlessness, and most of all, nausea. At first, I desperately missed the ways that I had walked, the companionship, the creative juices flowing, being in nature. But more and more, I was simply focused on getting through tough days. And so, except for some blissful moments, barefooted on the beach, playing with my dog and the sandpipers, or arm in arm with a friend, I mostly forgot about any form of walking at all. I couldn't even follow Anne Lamott's advice. Left foot, right foot, breathe. But then, 3 weeks ago, Michael and I spent a week on an island in Manitoba with old and new friends. The very first day of the trip, I awoke nausea-free. For the entire trip, that is the way I felt. I swear it was a miracle. On the second day in the afternoon, some of us canoed over to an adjacent island, took off our shoes, and went on the moss walk that the island is famous for. There were no deadlines we had to meet, no responsibilities that we had. We just wandered along the path, gazing all around, up at eagles flying around their nest, around at fallen lichen-covered logs like Christmas bûches de Noël, down at tiny mushroom villages hiding in the spongy moss that held our footprints, across to other rocky island shores. It felt so good to be out walking again, and yet it felt strangely new and utterly different. We were walking in slow motion. We brought our phones only as cameras to focus on the small wonders we experienced. It was more important to wander, to feel the moss between our toes, than to walk worried about the schedule. I heard my breathing, or was it the trees? We were late for dinner. In a few days, Becca and her team from Thistle Farms will be coming for a weekend of events, a pop-up market on Saturday, Sunday morning church, followed by the market in the courtyard after church. And at some point, Becca and I will find time to wander for a while on an easy walk through our neighborhood, looking for signs of fall foliage and listening to the wind singing anthems in the tree. Let me leave you with this. When I am among the trees, Mary Oliver. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. "It's simple," they say, "and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine. Even if it's as simple as putting one foot in front of the other and breathing, one foot in front of the other and breathing. Even if it's walking barefoot, just a few steps in your own backyard. I invite you to find ways to walk. Walking can be a spiritual practice, a prayer.